Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I'm the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll, and I'm just a guy that likes daydreaming at work. All right, so season is over. We are officially in the off season. Looking forward to what teams should be doing and other things like that. I wanted to talk about the Panthers. I was gonna do like an off-season plan video, but they kind of already hired their coach and everything like that. So now the real question is, we know what they want to do. They need to fix the offense. They need to get some receivers in there. They need to help Bryce Young out. Question is, how are they going to go about doing it, right? So let's just get into it. There's some things we need to talk about, and we'll have a little fun exercise at the end. Let's do it. All right, so the Panthers are terrible right now. They're probably the worst team in the league. They're probably the worst situation in the league. No first round pick, not that much money to spend, a quarterback that still has a lot of major question marks, lots of need improvement on the roster. Um, and right now, the future does not look bright in Carolina, unfortunately. There is a way they can fix it, though. The Panthers need to think about their long-term plans, and if those plans should consist of stars Brian Burns and Derrick Brown. Burns and Brown should give the Panthers at least one first round pick each. Something they could really use. This offense needs a lot of help, and those picks can garner that much needed help. Part of the problem, and if you've been watching some of these other videos I've been making, I've mentioned this. The Panthers at 33 desperately need a wide receiver. And the good news is this is a really good wide receiver. Matter of fact, this is a great wide receiver class. What we think. We'll see what happens, if it pans out that way. But the problem is even at 33, there are a lot of teams that need wide receivers. And I've said it once, I've said it twice, said a million times. Even at as high as 33, they might be picking receivers 6 through maybe even 10. Like there's three receivers that right now that we believe will be going in the top 10. Then you have the Chiefs that could use a receiver, the Bills that could use a receiver, uh, the Ravens could use a receiver, the Jaguars might need a receiver. The Bengals could potentially use a receiver. Other teams like the Colts could use one, maybe even the Saints. And again, that's seven that I just pointed out without including the top three that will probably go in the top 10. And again, I'm not saying all those teams will take one. Um, Chances are we're looking more closely at wide receiver 6 than wide receiver 10. But at the end of the day, it could happen. Now, again, on the flip side, teams could say, well, you know what, because it's such a deep wide receiver class, let's get some of these other needs first and push the receiver talent down the board. That way we can ensure that we'll still get a good receiver later on. That could happen, and in which case you could be looking at receiver 4, 5, 6. That either way could happen. But again, there's a good chance at 33 to looking at receivers 6 through 10. And for a team that desperately needs a receiver, I don't know if you can trust that. I don't know. Again, they're going to try to get one in free agency too, but let's say you strike out. I don't know if you can trust waiting till 33 to get your receiver, especially since the last two times you drafted a receiver high in the second round, it hasn't panned out for you. Terrence Marshall never panned out. Jonathan Mingo, who's a rookie, he looked okay, but it's not like anybody in Carolina sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, Mingo is without a doubt the future of this team." I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking. Um, but yeah, the point of the matter is they need to get at least one first round pick to ensure that they can get a better wide receiver. There's some problems with this though, right? One, the Panthers defense still needs work, and trading away arguably their two best players on defense will hurt the development of that side of the ball. Two, there might not be that many suitors out for their stars. The Rams offered two first round picks. Matter of fact, I think it was two first and a second for Brian Burns last year. The Panthers turned that down. I doubt that they will get the same thing for him this year. He still might get like a first and a third, maybe even a first and a second, but you're definitely not going to get two firsts for him. You're definitely not going to get two firsts and a second for him. Um, that and this year's a much better edge class than last year. Last year, the edge class was kind of weak. So a team like the Rams who wanted and needed edge rushing help, they were more suited to go after Brian Burns. This year, the class is a lot better. You see a guy like Braylon Trice could easily be there for the Rams in the first round if they want to go that route. Same can be said for the defensive tackle class. Um, a pretty good class, not as high end as it was last year, but it's still a pretty decent class. And so again, if you want to move Derek Brown, who I think would probably garner more than Brian Burns, it still might be kind of hard to find suitors. So what's the solution? Should they do it? Unfortunately, I think they should at least trade one of them if they can. Um, they've been struggling for years to find an edge rusher with Burns, and I would prefer Burns over Brown, unfortunately. Um, and trading him away is gonna suck. That's part of the reason why it makes this hard because they've been trying to find a running mate for. They haven't had one since Hassan Reddick. Um, they've been trying to find somebody to pair up with Burns to help bring out his potential, and they haven't been able to find one. So now trading him away is going to make it that much harder. Um, but it's something that has to be done. They went all in for Bryce Young, and so far that has not panned out. They need to make sure that this gamble was worth it. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes, the Rams could still be a team that if they're just in win now mode and they rather have of proven commodities over draft picks, they might still be willing to make a deal. Um, probably get you a first rounder, like I said, maybe a little bit more, but they can't wait till pick 33 to start drafting because they not only do they not have a first round pick, I don't think they have that many picks in this year's draft period. So they got to get some more draft capital. If you could get a great deal for Brown as well, they'll do it. Otherwise, just move Burns. Um, Now, let me be very clear because for those of y'all who know me, you probably know that I'm not a big fan of fire selling like this because most of the time it's like, well, like so for instance, I've been very adamant about how stupid I thought the Bryce Young trade was, not just because you trade up, but because you got rid of a DJ Moore. And again, it's one of those things where you already needed a receiver. Why would you trade the one receiver you already had? Now you need two receivers, right? So why was I not okay with that, but I'm okay with this? The only reason why I'm okay with this is because, and I'm not really okay with it. I like Brian Burns. To be fair to him, from everything I've heard, he wants to be a Panther. He does not want to be traded, which is admirable considering that this team is struggling. Like he wants to be here still. Um, the only reason why I think this is a little bit different is because again, with this team, they're so depleted. I'm all in for them saying, you know what? We'll figure out the defense another year. Let's go ahead and get this offense together, right? So it's not like you're trading Brian Burns to replace Brian Burns, because I always thought that was stupid, or you're trading Derek Brown to replace Derek Brown. You're trading either one, if not both, so that you can get a receiver, get some offensive linemen. Like they need a lot of help. They need a lot of help especially on the offensive side. And then later down the road, next year or maybe another year from then we can focus back on the defense. But right now, we need to at least make sure that our quarterback can operate at a high level, right? We have to make sure we do that. So that's the only reason why I'm okay with it in this situation because it's not as if you're trading Brian Burns. So for instance, if this was just a cap situation, right? Where it's like, oh, let's just trade Brian Burns for a first round pick, but we're going to use that first round pick to get an edge rusher. I would be like, that's stupid. Just keep the guy that you have. I understand being cheaper, but like, it's kind of dumb. This is a completely different story. This is, look, we stink. We need to kind of bottom out to rebuild, and we're not even focused on that side of the ball right now. We need to get our offense together. That's the only reason why in this situation I'm okay with it. Um, so yeah. Yeah, like I said, this is why it's important. They desperately need a number one receiver. The offense needs a lot of help. They need everything on offense. They need a receiver. They need some more offense. They need at least two more offensive linemen. They need a better number one running back. They still don't have a good tight end. Like I said, they need help. So getting these prospects, getting these draft picks that you're going to use for the offense is vital in this situation to me. And you can worry about getting an edge rusher later. You could worry, well, they're going to need two edge rushers, but you can worry about that later. You could worry about getting another defensive tackle later. But right now, they need to focus all in on offense and get that offense together because they need to know that Bryce Young is their guy of the future, or if he even can be their guy of the future. Because if not, they're probably going to be looking for another quarterback another year or two. But they need to at least surround him with enough talent to see if he can play the part. Um, yeah, that's that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And like I said, moving into the fourth round, I mean into the first round, now you can at least ensure yourself that you might get receiver 4, 5, 6 instead of 6 through 10. That's a big deal when you desperately need help at that position. Okay, so I we're gonna do just a fourth round mock. Just with the Panthers, I already pre-made the trade. So what these are the trades I did. So I traded for both. And what I did was I actually had the Rams trade for Derek Brown and not Brian Burns because I thought it would be cool if you had Derek. They want to fix that offensive line to begin. I mean, I'm sorry, that defensive line to begin with. Um, And having a guy like Derek Brown on the defensive interior with an Aaron Donald will not only help Aaron Donald, but also, what better person do you want Derek Brown to learn from to bring out his potential? I think that's another problem, right? Brian Burns and Derek Brown, they're considered stars, but neither one of them has developed into that superstar status that we all thought they had. So I wanted to put them in situations where a team would say, you know what, with us, he can be that. You know what I mean? And for the Rams, I think that would be cool to go ahead and put Derek Brown on that defensive line with Aaron Donald. And so what I did was Derek Brown, I did a first, a third, and like a conditional third next year. That was the trade for Derek Brown. And for Brian Burns, I actually had him go to the Texans. With the Texans, I figured they're in win now mode, right? They're probably looking at themselves and saying, you know what? We have our quarterback, and now that we have our quarterback, it's time to try to win. Um, our division is weak. We can take advantage of that. We want to be in the playoffs every year. We want to be in the best position to win. D'Amico Ryans wants a stout defense, and having a guy like Brian Burns on the other side of Will Anderson, again, I think would be great. Again, if you want the most out of Brian Burns, put him with another elite pass rusher, and Will Anderson is already that. So I thought that was great. And I think I only did a first and a third on that one. So those are the two trades I did. And here at 19, now we have the ability to get a really good wide receiver. So let's just see how many wide receivers went. One, two, three. Yeah, perfect. Like I said. So now we're in a position to get wide receiver 4. I'm so sorry about this, dog. We're in a position to get wide receiver 4. That's huge. That is huge. And at wide receiver 4, who would I want? We have Keon Coleman. We have Brian Thomas Jr. Though we have A.D. Mitchell. Those are the three guys I'm looking at. Yo, get your dog. What the heck? Um, they might be scared of Brian Thomas Jr. because he might remind them of Terrence Marshall. Then again, they might be scared of Keon Coleman because it might remind them of Calvin Benjamin. But I think you go either way here. I kind of want to get Brian Thomas Jr. 6'4", 205, big fast receiver. That's exactly what they want. He's a home run hitter. That I think that's the type of guy they need for Bryce Young to help him out. I'm gonna go Brian Thomas Jr. here. And then right now, here we go at 23, and look at that. Jackson Powers Johnson's still on the board. Marius Mims is still on the board, so all the tackles are still here. All the tackles, matter of fact, because all the tackles are still here, I'm gonna go ahead and take Jackson Powers Johnson because now I know I can get a tackle at 33. And at 33, Yeah, we still have some really good tackles on the board. I'm going to go ahead and take Jordan Morgan. So right now, that's huge. Okay. Wow, Xavier Legette is still on the board. Wow. Now, see that. So now, it is what it is, and this is one where some wide receiver talent fell, but you don't know how the draft is going to go. Oh, that sucks. Braylon Trice just went. That would have been perfect. Let me see what other edge. Ah, that stinks. The edge talent went fast. Wow, Braylon Trice dropped that much. Now, Austin Booker's been pretty good. He had a really good Senior Bowl. Let me just see what else we have here. Christian Haynes would be nice. Really shore up that line. Do we need a guard as well? I think we could go guard. We have we have 65, 83, and 85. So we have three third round picks here. So with that being said, there's some defensive interior. There's two defensive interiors I like. We could have to get a linebacker in case Frankie Louvu goes in free agency. Oh, I want to see is what's his name still on the board? Oof, the two tight end. Jaheim Bell's still here, but he's undersized. Uh, yeah, we're not gonna get caged over yet. You know what? Let's just shore up the line. Let's shore up the line, and hopefully some of these defensive interior players are still here. Okay, Devondre Sweat is still here. Okay, okay. Michael Hall's still here. Bucky Irvin's still here. Mm. Ah, that stinks. Some of those defensive interiors that I wanted. Oh, wow, Leonard Taylor's still here. I might have to do that. Um, wow. Dude, what is with this guy's dog? All right, so unfortunately, we're not gonna get an edge in this. Yeah, all the edge time. Wow, Braylon Trice not being going a pick before is kind of hurt, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead and take Devondre Sweat. We could take Cameron Kitchens. And again, this was the beautiful thing about the draft. A lot of interior talent still fell to us, so maybe I could have went defense earlier. Um, maybe I could have went defense earlier, but again, you don't know what's gonna fall to you. Um, Chris Abrams Drain is still here. Well, like Cameron Kitchens is still here. You know what? Who's our offense coordinator now? Dude from the Buccaneers. Blake Corum kind of makes sense, or Bucky Irving makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and get Bucky Irving. Spencer Rattler's is intriguing just to at least have another young quarterback. Bernardo Green is still here. Mm. Cade Stover is still here. Leonard Taylor's still here too. Um, Javon Baker's still here. Huh. I mean, we could go, it wouldn't be bad to go, it wouldn't be bad to go two wide receivers just to be safe. Trey Benson's still here? Mason Smith is still here. Wow, there's a lot of talent on that fell on this board. Um, I kind of do like the idea of going double. Leonard Taylor's. I want to go Leonard Taylor so bad. I want to go Leonard Taylor so bad. Get that defensive line right. But I think the responsible thing to do is to get Javon Baker. 6'1", 208. He's pretty fast. Getting two receivers makes a lot of sense. Mm, 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 mm. You know, as the coach is the offensive guy, we got to assume he's definitely gonna be all in on getting this offense right. So we're gonna go Javon Baker here. All right, so but again, you saw what we were able to do. We were able to flip our two, well, besides J.C. Horn, our two best defensive players. We were able to get wide receiver. We were able to get a whole new offensive line, basically. Um, we were able to get two new wide receivers. And we see it right here. Brian Thomas. Oh, by the way, when I did this, I was not paying attention, so I accidentally did the wrong play. I did the right trade, but the wrong player for each thing. So this is Derek Brown. This is Brian Burns. But anyway, was able to get Brian Thomas Jr. to get the best center in the draft. That should be an A plus. I don't know what y'all looking at. Um, get a great receiver, get a great. I mean, this is to me huge. Fixing that offensive line, getting some. This is going to help uh Bryce Young, especially getting the to me, in my opinion, the two best interior players in the draft and Jackson Powers Johnson and Christian Haynes. I think that's huge because that when you're a small quarterback like Bryce Young, you want to at the very least make sure that the interior is shored up. So they're going to be able to run the ball now. They're going to be able to pass protect. That's huge. We are able to get Jordan Morgan as well to help on that tackle position. Devondre Sweat replaces Derek Brown. Um, to be honest with you, I didn't know I probably would have went Trey Benson over Bucky Irving, but that's fine. I think they'll be fine either way. And then Javon Baker, another really good wide receiver. I think this is good. And again, this was just the first four rounds. We had other picks. I just wanted to do the first four just because that's where it would have been impacted via the trades. But yeah, like if I'm a Panthers fan, I gotta be happy with this. All right, I gotta be happy with this. Getting Brian Thomas Jr., getting Jackson Powers Johnson, getting Christian, like these three right here, these first four picks. Well, I mean, again, I love all these picks. I love all these picks. I really do. Um, Realistically, I'm not even mad that I got this early, even knowing what I know now that the interior class really fell. I'm not mad at this because, again, in my opinion, I got the two best interior linemen in the draft. I'm not mad at that. I'm really not. Um, I could have went, knowing what I know now, I could have went maybe edge. I could earlier. No, because again, by the time we even got Christian Hayes, all the edges were kind of gone. So unless I was going to take an edge at 33, which I was not, because again, the priority was to get a tackle. Yeah, it worked out the way it worked out at the end of the day. Like this to me, this is what a great uh Panthers draft would look like. And like I said, this is just up to round four. They have other picks, in which case they can, you saw how much talent was left on the board. They can still do some other things in the draft. But this is a great, yeah, this is to me, this is a great, 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 great draft. Filling a lot of needs. We still need a tight end, but unfortunately, this is not a great tight end class at all. So I had a feeling we weren't going to be able to, unless we got lucky. There's only like two or three tight ends I like. One of them was Brock Bowers. We knew we weren't going to get him, even if he fell to us in the first round. I don't know if I would have taken. Well, if he fell to us with our first round pick, knowing I have another one at 23, yeah, I would have taken him at 23 and gotten a receiver at 20 and gotten. I mean, I'm sorry, I would have taken him at 19 and taken a receiver at 23. But besides Brock Bowers, there's like only one other tight end I wanted. Um, and I knew that by the time I was even thinking tight end, it would not have, it would not have materialized. All right. But yeah, this is what they can do if they trade both of them. And I think if you're a Panthers fan, you should be very happy with this. You should be very happy with this. If you're Bryce Young, you should be very happy with this. All right. So you can find me at Never for Brett. That's NEVA underscore the number four BRETT underscore ME on Instagram and Twitter. We are at the underscore dope blog on Instagram and threads, the dope blog, all one word on Twitter. Our website is the dope.blog. And because you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we discuss other people's excellence. Deuces.